Hi everyone, and in this video I'll be discussing the Factory 5 racing kit I chose. Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel about building a kit car and other car topics. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the notification buttons below, and share with others on social media. If you've not seen my last few videos leading up to this one, please go to the links below to see how I started my journey. So when we last left off, I was hovering over the 33 Hot Rod by Factory 5, and it's just not going to work out. No, I'm totally joking. Totally joking. So I'm actually super excited about this car. What I have to do now is figure out what kind of car I'd like to build. Is it a show car, autocross, a non-show car just to have fun in? See, as you get to know me, you will find out that this will be the hardest thing for me to figure out because my budget will say one thing and my expectations will say another. And since I'm not around other car guys all the time, it's not like I have any experience of what they do or obstacles they have to give me any kind of clue of, I definitely know I don't want to do that. It's like a fresh new landscape and I could create anything I want. And for me, that's too many options. And since I want to do it right the first time, it's going to be really difficult for me to navigate this because it's kind of overwhelming. Which now brings up a few episodes ago. I mentioned that I'm not interested in racing because I experienced it and it scared the crap out of me. So I don't want to be on another track with other drivers. However, autocross is not in the same category for me since it's you against the track. And I'm okay with that. But honestly, autocross looks boring to me, and from an observer point of view at least, and it seems to really beat up your car. So, to each their own, but I'm sure if I was behind the wheel, I might feel differently. And of course, I wouldn't mind going down a drag strip once or twice in my life, preferably without another car in the other lane. I guess I have control issues when it comes to other drivers. So I don't have massive expendable income, so budgeting will be a big thing. I will try to keep the budget as low as possible with maximizing the highest quality I could get out of it. And if I start running the numbers and this kit's going to be, 100K like the GTM, then I'm not going to be doing it because there's other things I could do with 100K. But if it's affordable and I could do it in financial chunks, then I'm going to have a blast building something that I've always wanted to do as a kid. Basically, I'll be realizing a childhood dream. There will be a lot of trials and tribulations with building this car, and that is why I'm documenting it and doing a lot of research. So hopefully this helps others to see that it can be done and what it might take to do one. So let's take a look at a spreadsheet I slapped together with a lot of research that I do outside of our visits on camera. Don't want to bore you that much. Now, these are preliminary numbers just to get a feel of what it might look like, and I will let you know some of the general decisions I have made. All right, so here's kind of what I've come up with. We have the 33 Hot Rod kit complete. From the factory, that's about 20 grand. Turns out that I live in Arizona and they're in, I think it's Massachusetts, ME. So that's way on the other side of the United States. And so unfortunately that comes out to $1,800 to transport that vehicle to me. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. $1,800 is way cheaper than taking a week off of work to drive all the way out there and trailer it back. So if you live close to them, that's awesome, but I don't. And since I run my own business, I don't have the ability to take off that kind of time. I don't have 20 employees. You have a few options. The first option is you could get the powder-coated chassis from them already done in black, or you could get it raw and delete this price. Now, what's cool about doing it in raw is you could get it powder-coated or paint it yourself to whatever color you want. The only thing they'll allow you to do at the factory is black. And another option too is you could have them powder coat it and then, paint over a certain area if you want certain bars to show up really cool or whatever. So that's definitely an option. I'm thinking about doing maybe a Coyote Ford engine. I'm kind of into modern stuff, so it'd be kind of cool to have a modular new engine in it, which is fully, fuel injection. I don't have to worry about climate or altitude or anything like that when it comes to a carburetor, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to do an automatic transmission, so there's no extra charge for that, so that's $0. Drive shaft, no charge for that. You just tell them what engine you're putting in, and they'll give you that. So there's a bunch of different rear suspension links that you could do. You could do a 4-link, you could do a 3-link, or you could do an independent. I don't know the official name, but an independent suspension, which is pretty expensive for that. And it really depends on what you're doing. Like if you're just doing, let's say, a show car, you might be able to get away with a 4-link. If you're doing drag racing, you might actually like 4-link. If you're doing a lot of racing and a lot of curves and autocross, you'd probably want to go with a 3-link. And then if you can afford it and you want the most cushy, awesome suspension or most tunable suspension, you could go with the independent. But off the top of my head, I don't remember, but we'll say, $5,000 or something like that. It's pretty expensive. So for me, I'm trying to stay on a budget. And so I'm going to go right now with a 4-link in this example. Now for me, I do not like super loudness next to my ears. And so I'm going for the rear exhaust. I want it as far away from my ears as possible. And I think it looks cooler too. I don't necessarily like the side exhaust coming out, the tips coming out from the sides. So that's an add-on there. Tilt steering column. So almost everybody that you talk to or read about on these cars, they say that you want to go with the tilt steering. It makes it easier getting in and out of the car. And it's more customizable to you instead of permanently putting that steering wheel in one spot and then you're like, that's it. Whoever drives the car, they're kind of screwed because you tailored it to exactly where you want it. So that's kind of cool to have that tilt steering. I think it's a worthy upgrade. And right now I'm going with the paintable version because I'll probably match it to the car. Electric power steering. Now, I think I told you guys that I have issues with my neck and back, so power steering assist is mandatory for me. It's just too difficult to try to steer a car otherwise. So that's a mandatory cost that I have to have. Air conditioning. So if you have the Coyote engine, you have to have this extra cost for the compressor assembly. So I got that in there. Of course, I said originally that I wanted to do AC and heat. So that's in there. And they have some kind of extra Coyote installation parts. I guess it's special fitment for the engine. I'm not really sure. So that cost is in there. I was thinking of just doing the vinyl roadster seats, which comes with no charge. And then if I want to cover them with some special colored leather, then I have the bones of it. And then I just need to put a new top on. So figured I'd go that route. Standard hood. I want a fully enclosed. I'm not really into the open engine area. So I want a full standard hood. Standard gauges that come with it. I'm thinking since I'm in Arizona and the climate is either super hot or super cold that I want to go with a hardtop package. So I'm putting that in, and that leads me to go with power windows and door handles. And then Arizona is like totally rocks everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're driving. There's just rocks spitting up everywhere. So to save my paint and still look cool and not be like vintage with the old full fenders, I want to go with the bike fenders, and that's a must. So when we add that all up just for the kit, in other words, the check that I'm giving the factory 5, we're looking at about $31,000. Now, that doesn't include the engine, the drivetrain, the rear end, tires, wheels, paint, all that stuff. If we were looking to add that type of stuff, if you bought a brand new Coyote engine, you're looking somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000 depending on how crazy you go with this engine. And if you possibly find one used in a car, or you buy a car and pull the engine out, you might be able to get one for like $4 grand. So I'm kind of like, let's see if we can get one used maybe. There's a control pack you need to control that engine, about $1,500. We're looking at the automatic transmission, $2,500. Again, these are not new prices. These are used prices. Again, budget build. I thought it would be kind of cool if I could add paddle shifters on the car. It's pretty expensive, so not really sure that I want to do that, but I'm throwing it on there anyways. And then you need your regular shifter, so that's $300. And then here we have, and you can see, like, you know, I don't necessarily have model numbers for everything or whatever. These are just kind of generic, like, I know it's a 4R70W because that's what marries up to a Coyote. And, you know, but the low car shifter, I don't know what model it is. It's just a low car shifter, and the average around $300. So again, I'm just slapping these prices together. Here's the Moser 4-link. Now, there's some other, you know, you could rebuild one of these. There's some guys on eBay doing stuff, but I've talked to a lot of people, and the one on eBay is a lot cheaper. But I've talked to a bunch of people, and people have had success with those. But I don't know. It's a little sketchy. I'd rather have brand new myself. It comes straight from the factory. Done deal. I don't have to worry about it. It's brand new. I feel better with that. So that's what I'm doing. Rear brake kit, I guess you need that. $600. And there's a bunch of parts that come with the car for like your suspension in the front end that you have to paint or powder coat or chrome or do something with. And so I'm just throwing out some options. Might be $800 to do chrome, might be about $300 in powder coating. So we'll get there. And then I might have to buy some extra brake lines. I'm pretty sure the kit comes with everything, but I'm just throwing it in there. So now we have 31, and now we have, let's say, you know, 13. So now we're getting into the, you know, 45 range. Let's say we want to put some extra acoustic installation. Everybody talks a lot about lizard skins and things like that. You know, most people I've talked to say about $7,000 to get a nice show car paint job minimum. I mean, that's like skimming it, they say. You know, can I actually pull one off for $3,000 and do it myself? I don't know, you know. Leather shop, quoting $3,000 to $5,000. Set of wheels, $1,000. Tires, $1,000. So we got another $12,000. So now we're in the 50 something range. And then, I'm going to have to add LED lights, maybe an engine hoist, jack stands, air tools, some extra things that I need to do in the garage. So at the end of the day, I'm coming out with a general, didn't put much research. Obviously I put research into it, but I don't have 100 hours of research. There's 20 hours of research into this. And we're coming up around 60 grand. Now, that's not 100,000. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so we're at a number that is workable. As time goes on and I get more familiar with things, I will try to dial in this to a more economical build, but we will see. I know that there's a lot of costs not accounted for in this Excel sheet, and that scares me a little bit, but we're not at 100 grand, so it looks pretty good to me. So till next time, please hit the subscribe and the notification buttons below, and have a great day.